And for more discussion on UCA's win over in-state foe UAPB, we bring in the head coach of the Bears, Nathan Brown. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you guys for having me. Glad to be on.
Yeah, and Coach, I'm gonna be completely honest. I think most people probably on Saturday, or most likely at War Memorial Stadium, if they're an in-state state fan watching the Red Wolves and the Razorbacks. But your team gets the win over another in-state foe, UAPB, 41-17, the final score. Let's start broad. What do you think of your team's performance on Saturday? We'll start there.
Well, one, saw a lot of improvement from week 1 to week 2. And look, we opened at the University of Missouri and in the SEC, so we knew that was going to be a tall task, and the talent level that they have, it was obviously going to be a great challenge for us. But our guys got back to work last week. We knew we had an in-state opponent and a common level opponent as far as a Division I FCS school, and we got to work. And I thought we saw great improvement in all 3 phases of the game, and the fruits of our labors were rewarded last night, and that's encouraging. So, it was a good win to build on early in the season. Now we've got to make the same type of improvement as you go into week 3. But I was proud of our young men. I was proud of winning a game like that against an in-state foe. I mean, there's a lot of Arkansas kids on our team that played against kids on their team that they've been friends and grew up together and played against each other their whole lives. So get a little bragging rights, which is always fun, but also an opportunity to continue the tradition of University of Central Arkansas football at our level and having some success while we're doing it.
And you mentioned the improvements, and certainly a lot of positives to look at from this game. Myself, looking back at it, just watching the highlights, looking at the box score, the run game, the rushing discrepancy between you guys and UAPB, 318 to 44 was the difference in rushing on Saturday. Landon Chambers over 100 yards rushing. Luther Richardson 83 yards on 11 carries. That's your quarterback doing that. So how much confidence does it give you that you guys were able to run the ball well in this game?
Well, I've always been a believer that a recipe for a championship successful football team is running the ball and stopping the run. At the end of the day, defensively, if you can make teams one-dimensional by stopping the run, then you're usually going to have success that follows. And it's the same thing on offense. You have to be able to run the football, control the line of scrimmage. That in the offense we run, that opens up your play action game, obviously opens up getting receivers more open with some of the schemes we run, but it all starts up front. And if we can control the line of scrimmage like we were able to do last night, then you're going to see success follow. So proud of our young men. We committed to in the off season when we made this transition on offense and defense to controlling the line of scrimmage, and I thought we did a great job of that last night. In the second half, offensively, they knew we were going to run the ball, and we were still able to run the ball. And so when you have success when the other team knows you're going to do it, then that's when you're on to something special. So we'll see schemes moving forward in the coming weeks that we'll try to counter our rushing attacks, and we'll have to be creative and maybe be a little more on point. But as far as last night goes, I was proud of our guys. Anytime you've got a rush differential in the box score like that, more times than not, you're going to have a W in the win column. So that's a big deal.
I want to go back to the start of this game. What do you feel like UAPB did to kind of hang around with you guys in that first quarter, in that first half, before you guys were able to really establish yourselves and get a good lead there in the third quarter?
Well, UAPB plays hard. They've got the identity of their coach. Coach Alonzo Hampton is in year 2 there, and he's trying to enforce his culture and his identity. And those guys play hard, and they strip the ball. They try to get the ball out and get turnovers. I don't know that it was as much them as it was us. We 2 early turnovers on the first 2 drives that basically gave them a head start on us was really our undoing. And so we had an unfortunate fumble by Luther Richardson, our quarterback. Their linebacker did a good job getting a helmet on the football and knocking it out. And then really just a tip interception. That's unfortunate as well. A tip ball up in the air went right to one of their guys, and he was able to get it down to the 1-yard line. And that first 7 points they scored was really on our offense, not our defense. So it was our doing early on. So that's something we've got to address and get better at moving forward as we get into practice is the turnover issue.
And a big storyline for your team heading into the season was the quarterback battle. Luther is the guy who's kind of taken command of that role. What have you seen out of him in just the 2 games you guys have played so far, and maybe what do you want improved from him going forward once conference play starts?
Well, Luther's poised. There hasn't been, at least in the first 2 weeks, a moment too big for him. He's just got calmness in his eyes, doesn't get the wide-eyed look, just has a relaxed personality. And he's got great athletic ability. I mean, that's why we use him in the run game, because he's a big, strong, physical kid. He's about 225 pounds, so he can really move forward in the run game. Has a good quick release for his size as far as his throwing motion goes. But the improvement you want to see is just him being a hair quicker on some of his throws and some of his reads. He hadn't played a lot of snaps of Division I football. Mm-hmm. He's been at a couple stops, but it's never been the guy. So the more reps and snaps of live action he gets, it's going to force him to improve. And we'll see Luther continue to progress, and I think we'll see him continue to improve as the season goes on. But again, we need that to happen this week, because we're hosting our conference opener here on the Stripes in Conway at 6 o'clock this Saturday against a top 5 team in Tarleton State. So it's a massive matchup. They're gonna try to expose our weaknesses, and so Luther has to be on point this week for us to have success.
Let's take a step back and kind of assess your team at this point. You obviously go on the road. You compete, at least in the first quarter, it felt like, against Missouri, and then they kind of control it in the second half. Then you win a nice one against UAPB just on Saturday. Now, as you mentioned, you've got Tarleton State coming to town, the team that's expected to win your conference. How big is that game, and where do you kind of assess your team at this point so early on in the season?
Well, I like where we're at. I think we've got a lot of improvement still ahead of us. I think we've got the pieces to be a good football team that can compete for a conference championship. There's no question. I've seen plenty of championship teams here in this program over the years, and this team's got the talent to do it. We've just got to continue to come together, play unselfish football, be great teammates, look for constant improvement. Just because you won last night 41-17, you did not arrive. We got a lot of things we have to work on. So, I think we're in a good spot. But again, we're in the ballpark a lot right now. I know week 1 we had a lot of what ifs against Missouri. Now that some of that was their doing because of how talented they were. But even if you look at last night's film as we assessed it this morning, there's just so many plays that probably were left out there, and that's all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. So the growth has got to continue, and if we continue to grow, and with growth comes confidence, and with confidence comes momentum, and you start stringing together some wins, I think this team has a chance. But again, we got a huge test this Saturday, and Tarleton's the conference favorite. They're a top 5 team. They're talented. They put a lot of money and resources into their program. We're going to have to play clean football this Saturday to have a shot against these guys. And but we're looking forward to the challenge. I know our team is going to be ready to go. We're going to have a great week of preparation and practice. We'll be ready to go on Saturday.
All right, good to hear. UCA head football coach Nathan Brown. Coach Brown, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to seeing everybody in Conway on Saturday at 6 p.m.